Hello everyone and welcome to another video. This is Kai from Team Trigon and today we'll be doing a deck profile of Darklords. I first picked up Darklords in a mishmash deck when I was about 12 years old. I found one copy of Darklord Desire and fell in love with the card and the artwork, and as I grew older and eventually got into YuGiOh more and eventually full-time, then I decided to buy and pick up a Darklord deck. This deck is the one that I recently took to my locals. Please support your local shops and your locals if you can during quarantine. If your town says that you can visit and play, then please go and support them. Anyway, this deck went 2-1 at the locals, lost to Invoke Dogmatica. It beat Cyber Dragon and we got the free win for the buy-in round. And yeah, we'll get right into it. So, first for our multiple copies of cards, we are running 2 Indulged Darklord, 2 Capricious Darklord, 2 Darklord Amdusk, 2 Darklord Naston, 2 Darklord Superbia, and 2 Darklord Nurgle. We run 2 of most of these instead of 3 because 1, I'm learning a different deck and will transition off of Darklord, so I don't want to spend too much money on these. However, it is a good deck. I do love the artwork and the cards. The reason you run 2 is occasionally you will draw into dead hands as everything is really high level until the recent support that came out, but we run with what we can and we just run 2 copies. Ideally, we do want 3 copies of Naston. Because it is just a very good card. You discard 2 other Darklords from your hands to special summon. Now we go into the one-off cards. We are running 1 Darklord Ukabak, 1 Darklord Marie, 1 Darklord Asmodeus, 1 Darklord Zerato, 1 Darklord Tezcatlipoca, 1 Darklord Ichel, 1 Desire, and 1 Morningstar. The reason we run one of these is we do ideally want to run multiple copies of Tezcatlipoca and Ichel. However, I do not have any extra copies, and as I said, I'm transitioning into a new deck and don't really want to keep building around this anymore. However, the reason we run one of these, Marie is in here because Marie gives us life points during each standby phase, as well as she's just fodder to discard. And when she's in the graveyard, she gives you all your life points. Ukabak is a good searcher to send a card to the graveyard. Zerato is there in case we draw into a hand where we can keep discarding, get 3 cards and summon. Ichel and Tezcatlipoca are 2 cards that you do want multiple copies of in this deck. They are actually really good. Ichel is you discard this and another card, draw 2 cards, and Tezcatlipoca is essentially a Darklord hand trap where if the card would die, a Darklord on the field anyway, and Tezcatlipoca is in hand, you can discard, the Darklord stays on the field. Desire is just a big monster in general. It is a 3000 beat stick, with its effect being it only requires 1 fairy tribute to summon. It also loses 1000 attack to destroy a card on the field. Morningstar is our boss monster of the deck with 3000 attack, 3000 defense, and his effects are he can't be normal or special summoned, but when he is summoned you can special summon any fairies from your hand or deck up to the number of effect monsters that your opponent currently controls, as well as he can send any number of cards equal to the number of Darklords you have on the field to the graveyard at the end of each turn and gain 500 life points for each. Moving on to the spells for the Darklords. These are fairly easy. We are running 3 Darklord Contact and 3 Darklord Banishment. The reason we're running 3 of these is Darklord Contact is essentially our Monster Reborn, and Banishment of the Darklords is essentially our Searcher. These are good. You don't really need to run 3, you can run 2 because most of the cards let you reshuffle in from the graveyard. However, we run 3 because having 3 Monster Reborns in the deck is very good. However, the only issue with Darklord Contact is that they are summoned back in defense position. Now onto the traps. We are running 1 Darklord Uprising, 1 Sanctified Darklord, and 1 Darklord Enchantment. Darklord Enchantment is you send a Darklord from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard, take control of the monster until the end of the turn. Sanctified Darklord is you send a monster for the Darklord from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard and negate the effects of one monster and gain life points equal to its attack. and Darklord Uprising is essentially the polymerization of this deck. Now, onto the one-offs that are not Darklord cards. We have one Herald of the Orange Light. This is just a hand trap to discard that and a fairy to negate a activation of a card and send it to the grave, and one copy of Athena. This is good because if you do manage to get this out, you can consistently sack a fairy Darklord, because most of them are. You can sack a fairy off your side of the field for a fairy in the grave, and the opponent takes burn damage each time you do this. This is very good, seeing how all, apart from one card in this deck, is fairy types. Now onto the spells that we are running, and this is the end of this. We are running 1 World Legacy Succession, 1 Valhalla of the Fallen, 1 Polymerization, 1 Dark Hole, 1 Trade-In, 1 Allure of Darkness, 1 Card Destruction, 1 Sanctuary in the Sky for our field spell, and a copy of Monster Reborn. Yes, that Monster Reborn is destroyed, however it is about 13 years old. That is the card I have had the longest of my lifetime. And this is it for our main deck, so let's go into the extra deck. Now going into the extra deck, this is fairly simple. We are running 2 copies of the first Darklord. The polymerization card for this usually goes into this card. The card effects are insane on this. This is a 4k defense and attack monster, and if you use Morningstar in the summon of this card, you destroy all cards your opponent controls, non-targeting, as well as the enemy cannot target any fairies for card effects, and during the main phase you can pay 1,000 life points, special summon a fairy monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position. It's essentially got a Darklord contact built in, however you can also use it from hand. And then finally we are running 2 Condemned Darklord. This is a Link 2 which is fairly simple to go in, and whenever you need to tribute summon for a fairy monster, you can actually just remove the cards from grave instead, and at the end of your turn you gain 500 life points for each fairy on the field. It is a very good card, however there are better Link 2s, it's just one designed for Darklords. This is not the final build of what I want this deck to be. That would be something along the lines of this, now on your screens. However, I might continue to build this up. I am transitioning to a new main deck and playing a different deck now, so we'll see what happens. Thank you for watching, like, comment and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Goodbye, Trigang.